Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Jay Grant here, Executive Director with LISC Hampton Roads, and I'm so thrilled to announce the opening of the Community Resilience Innovation Challenge, a partnership between Rise Resilience, LISC Hampton Roads, and brought to you and sponsored by Centera Health. Just want to get into a brief introduction of how we got here, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Paul Robinson momentarily, Executive Director of Rise Resilience. So LISC and Rise have been in conversation for well over a year about how do we merge our missions and increase our impact, particularly in areas of community resilience. So as you all probably know, LISC nationally, which has been around since 1979, and locally since 2020, have a major focus on affordable housing production and preservation, and also community impact through various ways of assisting nonprofits and other entities in terms of capacity building, in terms of outreach, lending, in many different ways. And what we found is that oftentimes there has not been as much of a connection between, let's say, the built environment and the natural environment, between creating a community impact and ensuring that that impact is as sustainable and or resilient as possible. And really, this marriage, so to speak, is really, we find, very natural in that, in particular, in a coastal region such as Hampton Roads, as we're looking at future potential negative impacts with sea level rise, with associated issues that come with that, it is imperative that all of our work in the built environment, in particular with housing, and in particular with so many other community types of work that we do, be as sustainable as possible. And so in June of last year, of 2023, we held what we called the Challenge Design Workshop, or CDW, where MIT Solve came down to Norfolk and assisted us with a facilitated workshop. And we brought community members, leaders, and team members from a wide variety of entities, for-profits, nonprofits, local governments, and everything in between. And we had over 70 participants. It was a great event, and we broke out into a variety of groups based on different topic areas. And from there, we were able to analyze the data, and over the next several months, developed what we are now calling this Community Resilience Challenge. And so Paul will tell you more about the ins and outs of this challenge, but essentially, this is a very community-driven process. And of course, we are looking at enhancing resilience, particularly in underserved communities throughout this region, throughout the Hampton Roads region. And we feel that this challenge is really going to bring about some innovative, catalytic activities, initiatives, projects here in Hampton Roads. So without further ado, I will turn the mic over to Paul to dive deeper into the ins and outs of the challenge. Paul?
Thank you, Jay. Good afternoon, the director of RISE.
And RISE has been running its challenges for the past 7 years in sourcing the problems that we've been looking to address in our local area. In the past 7 years, we have run 8 innovation challenges. We post the information out via the web worldwide, and we've received over 250 submissions from 30 countries. Now, what we fund is, these are not R&D programs that we fund. We've actually fund demonstrators and pilots. And we funded 35 new solutions to be installed and implemented and demonstrated in our area. And in total, we funded these companies over $7 million. We call it catalytic funding to support these small businesses. It's called catalytic funding because we want to get the companies to the point where they have paying customers or private investment. So we want them to grow. We help them grow. So they have to have a technical solution as well as an economic viability path forward. The companies have gone on collectively to raise over $48 million in private investment, which is what we've been looking for. On the job side of things, the contracts that we have put out with these companies have created or retained over 175 jobs, and they have trained over 400 people in resilience related industries and capabilities. So we've used this as a way to develop new solutions and also to help grow small businesses address the problems in our region and to go off to larger markets. So our model has been well tested in a number of different regions, not just in the Hampton Roads area, but also in the Middle Peninsula and North to work with the rural communities. We're working in the mountainous and the riverine communities in the mountains in Southwest Virginia. And we've also been working with NYSERDA and Insure in New York State and the climate tech area. So we're starting to expand more and more. And this opportunity with LISC is really a great extension of what we do. So it's a great fit. I want to talk to you a little bit about the topic areas. First of all, there's so much more information on the website. Go look at that. There's documents linked to this to the descriptions of the challenge here. Much more information is in there, so I direct you towards that. But we want to run through quickly some of the topic areas that we have suggested. The bottom line is, if you have an idea that addresses the problems that the program is addressing, then we would consider other ideas outside of the suggested topic areas. So you're not limited to that, but we'd want to talk to you about it. And this is a very participatory process. So if you have questions, please reach out to us through the info email. We want to talk to you. We want to help you through your submission process. We're not going to leave you alone, but we want to get you to the point where you have something that you feel you can do and that meets the needs of the challenge. So the first topic area that I want to talk about here is the health and wellness areas. In that area, we're looking for concepts of mobile health clinics to help keep communities healthy, home healthcare services, affordable childcare, innovative insurance models, and food insecurity. What I'd also say here for anyone working in this area is that there's also an opportunity here to work with Centara Health, one of the biggest, the sponsor of this program, and one of the biggest healthcare providers in the region. They have a number of programs in these areas, and they would welcome companies that have the capacity and the knowledge to expand those programs out into larger footprints around the region. So you could have the opportunity of working with a sizable organization that has an interest in extending its reach. Another topic is in the area of affordable housing, in particular looking at expedited construction and repurposing the inventory and providing access for renters to affordable housing, as well as new financing methods. And economic and job security is clearly an area of great interest in order to keep the local communities resilient. And that's really what this challenge is about, is increasing the economic resilience of communities so as to make them more resilient to climate threats and make them more climate resilient. And there is a connection there. On the economic and job security side, we're looking for programs that develop skills and train and place employees, as well as support the employees and help them get access to their work sites and their jobs. Innovative work models are also of great interest, doing things in different ways, as well as business development and entrepreneurship, especially growing new small businesses in areas that need some help in the economic resilience area. Financial literacy and management and community investment and profit sharing are two important areas. This whole area, the economic and job security area, is one in which companies in this field have an opportunity to work with LISC in actually expanding and growing their programs LISC has been developing a number of different programs that have been used throughout this region and throughout the country. It's discussed more in the documentation, but if there is a fit here, then we'd like to hear from you, and that could be a way to help LISC grow and expand their programs. And also, obviously, environmental resilience is very key. That this is what we're trying to support a community's climate resilience by helping them with their economic resilience. So we obviously want to make sure these communities have good disaster preparedness and response, as well as education on some of the environmental considerations for their community. Green spaces for flood and heat resilience are very important. They are very lacking in some of the more needy communities, and so we'd be looking for solutions there, as well as resilience-based economic development and green job creation. RISE has come across some companies in the past in that area. There are ideas out there that I think would be very well suited for this area, and we'd welcome companies to bring them to this challenge. Now, what's important with the solutions that we get are they have to come from a good team or a team that has the capacity to execute, and they also have to be relevant and address the issues affecting the community. But we want to take this a step further. We want to make sure that there is actually an implementation plan for the business idea, and we're going to do this by connecting the business the business proposal itself to how it can actually be implemented in the community to reduce two government metrics of vulnerability, which is essentially the inverse of resilience, the social vulnerability index and the climate and economic justice screening tool. These are tools and metrics that are used and accepted by cities, municipalities across the country to identify which communities are more or less vulnerable to economic, health, climate stressors. So we want to know from the companies, we want them to explain how their solution is going to reduce the vulnerability numerically of these regions by addressing these two metrics. And we will provide support and help for companies who need guidance in this. We'll help them think it through, and we'll help them get to the point they need to be. So you're not on your own here. This is a new approach to assessing the potential benefits of the submitted program, and we want to help companies with that. So please reach out if you have any questions. We'll be providing more information. I'll be doing recording a webinar here in the next few days that you'll be able to look at and understand what's required. Also, with your submission, we want a business plan. We want you to be to get to the point of being economically viable and grow economically, get into bigger markets. That's a very important part of our assessment. And then the work plan and approach is what we actually would be funding up to about $200,000, and that's what we want you to include in submissions. The application process is actually twofold to make it easier and quicker for people to apply. The initial submission is done online and asks a number of questions and allows you to upload information of your submission if you want, as well as to start to identify those parameters in the SVI and the CGS indicators that I discussed. So we're not looking for any complex analysis. It's just look at your solution and look at the indicators that of importance in these metrics and tie the indicators and the metrics to your solution so as we can identify really what ones you're planning to drive down with your solution. Then once we've received all our applications, and Jay's going to talk about the timeline here in a second, we will select finalists from there, and we will ask those finalists to provide us with more information. And from that group of finalists, a subset will be asked to pitch to the judging team. So that's a detailed summary. There's much more detail on the web. I'll hand it back to Jay to finish up and talk about the last few details. Jay?
Thank you, Paul. And so why should you apply? Again, if you are a for-profit or a nonprofit entity, you are and you're involved in making strides in Hampton Roads in terms of the great work that you do. If you have an innovative solution, and if you're already thinking about some of these problem areas that you'll find in our website that Paul has briefly described, then you should apply, or you should at least consider applying. Again, we're talking about making a substantial impact here in the region, and an impact that could potentially be scalable not only here in Hampton Roads, but ultimately replicable potentially outside of the region. And so this is something that gives you and this greater effort the ability to make a difference, to collaborate. So you could potentially be working with other entities as well to come in. Now, the awards themselves will be up to $200,000 each. This is non-equity funding, and this is for real-world pilot projects here in Hampton Roads. Some of the questions we receive are, does your business or other entity have to be based in a Hampton Roads jurisdiction? Technically, the answer is no, but you do have to be piloting your work here in Hampton Roads. So most often, we will be working with organizations that are based here, but there could be some caveats where maybe you're outside of the region, but you are doing work here in the Hampton Roads region. Some of the benefits that are included, if you are a winner, is PR and media visibility and other types of capacity related assistance that RISE will be accompanying you with. And we'd like to share with you this timeline that's associated with the challenge. And so, of course, April 15th, the challenge has officially opened. Coming up on next week, April 25th, starting at 8 a.m., we'll have a coffee event at Coalescence in Norfolk. And that will be a great time if you are an interested party to come out, ask questions, hear more details, meet the RISE and LISC teams as well. April 30th at 1:30, another informational webinar. And these webinars will be every 2 weeks throughout the duration of the challenge. So May 14th at 1 p.m. will be the upcoming webinar. And then May 28th, another informational webinar. June 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern will be the application submission deadline. So make sure you catch that 2 p.m. Don't try to submit it at 11:59. It'll be closed already. And the finalist will be announced on July 5th. July 19th will be the deadline for applicants to submit any additional documentation, including technical details, work plans, financial projections, and related documents. And then August 2nd is the shortlisted finalist. That's the date that those finalists will be announced. By mid-August, we plan to have shortlisted finalist pitches. And finally, on September 1st, the winners will be announced. Now, some of these dates may be subject to change. And of course, stay plugged in to our website to notice any of those potential changes. And please, visit us at liscrisechallenge.com. As Paul mentioned, you can find all of the information, including the application itself and any ins and outs and updates. You can also use the QR code that you see on your screen to go directly to the site. So we are just, again, thrilled for what is to come. Please join us as we embark upon innovative challenge opportunities here in Hampton Roads. Again, we have such a unique region, unique in geography, unique in our abilities to create. We have an excellent workforce here. So we're expecting some great projects, and we're really looking forward to partnering with you. I'll turn it back to Paul to close us out.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Again, go to the website, send us questions, and if you need to talk or run something by us, please reach out. We're welcome to. We'd welcome your inputs and your suggestions, and we'd love to help you get to the point of a submission. So
we are open to any questions, whether general or more specific. And of course, as Betsy has put in the webinar chat, you can take those offline if you feel appropriate as well.
We did get a question. Will this involve soliciting proposals or submitting one? Not quite sure what that refers to. We are looking to get proposals, submissions through the online webinar web that where you can put your submission information into. So that information is available on the website too.
Yes, and once those proposals come in, we will internally utilize the tools that Paul described. So the SVI and the CGIS tool. So it's a very scientific process of how we are rating and ranking projects. And so there are some key ways that your project can be elevated towards the top. For instance, if there are environmental features, those are ways. If there are combinations, I should say, addressing a greater number of some of these social vulnerability items, then that can potentially elevate your project. And so we're looking, again, for effective and efficient ways of addressing community issues. And so if there is a solution that kind of kills a bird with two birds in one stone, or multiple birds, I know, bad analogy, but those would be potentially some of the stronger proposals. I see another question from Diamond Gorman. Is it better to partner with larger nonprofits? So great question. So this process is open to both for-profits and to nonprofits. So in the name of collaboration, it could always behoove an entity to collaborate. We leave that to your business or your organization. So if it's, let's say if it's something related to health and safety, and the solution involves a network of organizations working together towards a solution, then that may make sense. But it really is up to the applicant to determine what is within your application. Hopefully that will help. And is this only, next question, is this only for Hampton Roads businesses? I'll answer it in part, and then I'll pass it to Paul and or Betsy. But in a nutshell, the business or the nonprofit doesn't necessarily need to have its office right here, but that's highly likely. You definitely need to be using Hampton Roads as your testing ground. So the solution needs to be implemented in the greater Hampton Roads region. And so, for instance, here's the inverse. If you were a business or nonprofit located in a Hampton Roads jurisdiction and you wanted to test out a solution in Columbia, South Carolina, that would not be eligible. Paul?
Yeah, so I would direct you towards the eligibility criteria in the application guidelines. Make sure that you follow those and you fall into that you correspond to those criteria. And we welcome outside businesses to come in and demonstrate their solutions. When you're talking about partnering with larger nonprofits or any larger organizations, make sure that the lead organization is the eligible partner, and you can really partner with any organization you need to. It looks like we are at time. There will be more webinars coming up at 2-week intervals, but in the meantime, stay in touch, ask us your questions, let us know how we can help. We want to bring as many people along as we possibly can. So thank you all for your time. Sorry about the technical glitches. We'll try and get them fixed and make sure there's a good recording available on the website.
And be sure, if you're in town, come on and see us on April 25th at Coalescence Coffee in Norfolk from 8 to 9 a.m. We'll be there in person and we can answer more of your questions.
Thank you again. Thank you all for your time, and we'll look forward to talking to you some more.